Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the River Avenue Radio Podcast. My name is Kyle. I'm one of your co-hosts, obviously. And who are you, good sir?
My name is Ryan Parker. I'm going to be another one of your co-hosts. Very excited to be here. Very excited to talk some Yanks.
Yeah, so the reason we're here is that we are very depressed. After the playoffs, another Dodgers win. Probably the second worst, maybe third worst possible outcome. I'd say Red Sox, Blue Jays, Dodgers in terms of
I'd agree
how
with that.
sad I'd be. So
I kind of forgot the Red Sox were in the playoffs.
Not for long.
Nope.
Not for long.
Going
But
home with something.
not going home with much though, because for pretty much our entire lives, we're both about 21 years old. The Yankees have been bad. They've won one World Series, which I know a lot more than the Blue Jays have won in that time, but not good. Another failure of a season. So today's episode is really just going to be about going through what kind of caused this, I don't know if I'd say collapse, but certainly not a success.
Looking at the stats, I'd call it a collapse. A lot of players were significantly different and not in a good way in the postseason.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So let's just start out there then. So something that we've heard a lot about from front offices, analytical types, and baseball people in general is that the playoffs are a crapshoot. And that's a quote from Cashman, that's a quote from lots of other GMs, that sometimes you have the better team and you just lose. You saw the Blue Jays, what was he, the on-field reporter, saying after the World Series that the better team didn't win. And despite us trolling the Blue Jays a little bit about that, it kind of maybe is a little
it's
bit
probably
true.
true.
So we want to kind of just preface this conversation about the postmortem because it's obviously going to be focused a lot on the playoffs because at the end of the day, we won the second most games of any team in baseball, but that doesn't really matter because you didn't get it done when it actually mattered.
There will be some regular season talk.
Just
Not
a
a
little
lot,
bit.
but some.
But let's just talk about how if the playoffs were truly a crapshoot, the Dodgers and the Astros wouldn't have won basically 50% of the time for the last decade. You can say that maybe they just got lucky repeatedly, but let's be honest with ourselves. Their team was probably just better built, and that's why they made it. But there was a lot of talk going into these playoffs. It's like, damn, the Dodgers, who were projected by the talking heads to be the greatest team of all time, like they looked bad going into the playoffs, and people really didn't think that they had the juice to go all the way. But I guess here we are.
You and I talked about this a while ago. Nothing bad ever happens to the Dodgers. Roki Sasaki just being good to end the year, and I think that's where the crapshoot argument does kind of come in. Where, yeah, it is a crapshoot, and yeah, the Dodgers got really lucky that every single one of their pitchers just was ready for the postseason. Glass now.
Glass now.
That doesn't roll off the tongue very whatever. Glass now, Snell, Sasaki, Ohtani, Yamamoto. I mean, Yamamoto he was a top pitcher basically throughout the year, but nonetheless, it's another thing you and I were talking about before the show. It is a crapshoot, but you can position yourself to be the best team in a crapshoot.
And it's not always about having the better team to position yourself for winning, quote, a crapshoot. Because we can look at the Yankees as an example of this, and you hear this a lot from the front office, and I think this is more true than just the general phrase, the playoffs are a crapshoot, is that the process is what matters more than the results. And that's really not something that's satisfying to hear as a fan. It's like, oh, the process hit 5 home runs in Game 4 and we won the game.
Hey, the game is played on paper.
The true game is played on paper.
The real baseball game.
But we can look at the Yankees as a good example of this because objectively during the regular season, the Yankees had the best or the second best offense in baseball. Like, you can say, oh, they strike out too much. Oh, they whatever. They can't hit in extra innings. Like, sure, but they scored the most runs, and when you score runs, you tend to win baseball games.
They hit the most home runs by like a lot. It
Yeah.
was not close. I think the Dodgers were number 2, and there was a solid gap between the two teams.
it's
And a
not
lot
like
of that
they're-
did come from the Yankees offense just went nuclear on so many days this year. Like the Milwaukee game, the Tampa Bay game. There was a game against the Nationals that I went to by myself on like a Wednesday, and I think they hit 5 home runs, maybe 6.
Yeah.
There were so many of those days, and that kind of goes into what you were saying about like, oh, it's home run or bust, which I really don't believe. I saw an interesting stat way earlier on in the season. I think in August, one of the John Boy guys posted it. It was it said that the Yankees had the best record when they hit a home run in a game, and they had the 7th best record when they didn't.
Yeah, it's people act like because they were hitting so many home runs, they're running out 9 Joey Gallos on a day-to-day basis. Like, that just objectively wasn't the case. Their offense was elite just overall. Like you said, winning the 7th most amount of games when you don't hit a home run relatively, that's great. That's top 10.
Yeah.
And especially for a home run hitting team.
Right.
So their offensive approach and their process was clearly sound. And on the other hand, pitching, not as much. We saw that throughout the regular season, that the pitching was prone to going to really prolonged slumps. Certain relievers, like obviously Devin Williams had his issues, but even when a bunch of the people came over in the trade, like Camilo Doval, just seemed to be kind of lost for a couple months after he came over. And he's been kind of a streaky pitcher before he came over when he was with San Francisco. But even so, going from a 2.5 ERA to a 7+, which he was in his first month with the Yankees, clearly something was just kind of off in their approach there. We saw, especially during the Boone Swoon, whatever, bad months in the summer, we saw that they were just not aggressive. Their approach was weird. They were walking everybody. They were walking bad hitters. I went to the Red Sox game where Paul Blackburn just blew it in the 9th and they lost 11-2 against Garrett Crochet. But what really frustrated me during that game and that whole series was specifically David Hamilton. David Hamilton is genuinely a horrible baseball player. You can ask a Red Sox fan.
Dude, he owned us this year.
But a lot of the time, he was getting on base because we were walking him.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me more frustrated than most playoff losses in my life. Every single time they walked David Hamilton. And he would run, like, once he gets on base, he's good, but he gets on base, like, 1/5 of the time because he's awful at hitting.
Right.
And the Yankees just refuse to go after them. And this isn't just a David Hamilton thing. And we'll get to the incident with Rafael in the playoffs that really kind of embodies this. But their approach just didn't really seem to work on the pitching front. And I love Matt Blake just as much as anyone else. Like, he's great at building up, especially bad pitchers. Like, he can make a bad pitcher a good pitcher better than, I'd say, 28 other teams, maybe except for the Dodgers and Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we saw this. Let's just go right into the playoffs here and talk about how it just was really, sometimes it's offensive. Like, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon are 1 and 2. Guess how many walks they had in the playoffs? Fried threw 9.1 innings. How many walks?
4?
5 walks in 9 innings. So basically walking, perfect walks through 9 and 5, basically.
Yeah.
Awful. Horrendous. Rodon threw 8.1 innings. It also had 5 walks. Just could not put hitters away. And the Yankees' overall number of about 18 walks in 61 innings. Not good. It's really bad.
And honestly, I don't know if you agree, this is just a fan take. I would rather watch them give up a home run than walk someone. especially a bad hitter, or not maybe not a home run, but I'd rather see them hit a double than take a walk. Especially someone like Rafaela. Rafaela never walks. That's his thing. He never and Luke Weaver walked him, and it leads to things like what happened in the 9th inning.
Yeah, it's really
we blew the game
sad,
and it was totally preventable. Like I feel like the story of this year was free bases.
Yes.
Every time there was a bad loss, because it started with a walk or an error or something like that.
It's defense too that were allowing the free bases. We'll get to Trent Grisham later. Just brutal defense. This is, and a lot of this is from traditionally good defenders. Like Volpe obviously had regressed massively this year.
Right.
It's kind of unclear what the cause of that was. Maybe it's a mental thing. Maybe it's his shoulder. Maybe
it's both.
He's just cursed. Maybe he sucks. It's unclear. But Bellinger had some weird defense in the playoffs that, again, didn't really end up mattering. Judge had that one bad error.
Yeah,
against
but still
the Blue Jays, but he made a bunch of good plays. I'm not really going to get on Judge for this.
It's defense, but to your point of good defenders, like Judge makes like one error a year.
Yeah, and he's made one in the playoffs 2 years in a row now. But
talk about that.
With the process, I think another thing to look at is you can look at Cam Schlittler, just because in his Blue Jays start, obviously in the Boston start, he was just incredible. There's not really much to look at there. Sometimes you're just better. The Boston lineup wasn't very good, and Cam Schlittler kind of just owned them.
And there also is something to say about, I mean, once you get going, it's kind of hard to stop. I feel like he was kind of just rolling,
But Cam in his Blue Jays start, how many strikeouts do you think he had?
I think it was 2.
Yeah, 2 strikeouts. Relative to what did he have in the Boston game? 12, 11?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like in the Boston game, he went 8 innings. In the Blue Jays game, without the Jazz error, he probably would have gone 7.
Without a doubt.
And he allowed 2 runs, but more importantly, he didn't walk anybody. So clearly, just the approach of throwing your best stuff and making them hit it could have worked. And I think Fried and Rodon just really didn't execute, or were kind of too afraid to try and pitch aggressively against a team that had, throughout the whole year, really just owned the Yankees. And I think it sunk us at the end of the day. And you can look at some of these playoff numbers for Max Fried and Carlos Rodon specifically, and they're really just not good. Can I give me a guess on Max Fried's career playoff ERA in 76 innings?
I'm pretty sure it starts with a 5. I don't know the specific number, but
5.3 in 76 innings. Max Fried is statistically the worst playoff pitcher of anyone who's thrown this many innings. That's not an exaggeration.
He's got to take that CC shirt off. He's got to take it off.
It's crazy, though.
That's awful.
He's never really been bad at any point in his career. It's not like he has one season that he was just awful where he gave up 50 runs when he was 10 years old with the Braves. It's been consistent. He's pitched a couple innings every year, and he just hasn't been able to perform. And Rodon, much smaller sample, 28 innings, but his ERA is even worse. He has a 7.5. It's just crazy how awful our 2 best pitchers have been in the playoffs. And obviously, it would have been nice to have Garrett Cole sub 2.5 ERA in the playoffs. But when you have 2 of arguably the top 10 pitchers in the American League on your team, and they can't really do anything for you when it matters most, that's a problem. And again, we go back to, is it real? Are these numbers fake? Like every pitcher has had a bad start or 2 in their career during the regular season. Paul Skeens got owned by the Rockies one time. I remember this because I was playing him in fantasy and I needed this to happen. But
he also got owned in it was like it was him versus Mizorowski, and the Brewers just like owned him.
They hit like 10 singles.
Yeah.
They should have tried that in the playoffs.
They should have.
But because they just can't be consistent, and because the lack of consistency seems to be coming from the same types of things, which is lack of aggressiveness, especially against bad hitters, and just kind of being timid overall, it makes me think that although maybe each individual result is based on luck, or at least partially based on luck, at the end of the day, you have to put yourself in the best position. You have to adjust the process, especially for the pitching. But I think that leads kind of into the hitting, because I think the hitting is way more confounding than the pitching was, because at least during the regular season, there was a lot of bad pitching during the year. Like obviously at the end of the year, the numbers don't look that bad, but especially in the down months, it was like every day. It was bullpen meltdown. It was a starting pitching meltdown. Will Warren giving up 10 runs. Max Fried walking 4 people. But
Canada Day, the Max Fried start.
God. The Luke Weaver grand slam on Canada Day, like, we should have known the season was over.
Yeah.
The vibes were dead. I guess we got him back, but anyway, let's go into the hitting here.
Yeah. So looking at the hitting, if you pull, okay, I'm just gonna run through the stats. Trent in the regular season, his slash line was 235, 348, 464. That's very good, very solid, good hitter. In the playoffs, 138, 219, 207. That's a 426 OPS in front of Judge, who hit in the playoffs for the first time in like 5 years.
Is that good, a 400 OPS?
Some might say it's bad. Some might be inclined to say that that's not great. I would be inclined to say that that's not great. But primarily, Trent's regular season strikeout rate was 23.6, and his playoff strikeout rate, want to guess?
Ooh. Like 35?
A little lower. 31.3, which is still like an 8% increase, which is ridiculous. From someone who like is generally known as, like, he had 100th percentile chase rates this year. And that was the thing. He didn't swing.
Yeah.
He struck out looking so many times. And so yeah, there's that. Belly. Regular season. 272, 334, 480. Solid. Great player. If we don't get Kyle Tucker, I would love to have him back. In the playoffs, 214, 258, 393. A 258 on base percentage is disgusting. That's terrible. That's so bad. And
I think with Trent specifically, I want to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
This was obviously kind of a breakout offensive year for him.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are like, oh, is it fake? Whatever. Like, he's just playing how he really is. He's not actually that good. All of his underlying numbers were good. Like,
it was not a
that
fluke
this was
year.
A real breakout. Yeah.
And even when he was bad, he was getting really unlucky. Like, his quality of contact, if you look at his rolling xWOBA chart, it never went below average.
Yeah.
He was a good hitter under the hood all year.
I think.
And again, like I said, he had 100th percentile chase rates.
Yeah, but it seemed like in the playoffs, he literally just seemed scared to swing. I remember in the Blue Jays series especially, I was just getting so angry. His at-bats against you Savage were just disgusting.
Dude.
And I think it set the table for him just being scared to whiff.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year. He's like, okay, the thing that made me good this year is that I don't chase, I don't whiff, and I need to wait for my pitch and I need to drive it. But he just wasn't picking him up, and he couldn't get anything going. And when he was swinging, like a 30% strikeout rate, obviously in a small sample, isn't the worst thing in the world. But it wasn't that he was going down swinging. He was going down looking.
Yeah.
And that's far more offensive to me.
I agree. And also, it's just... And this kind of ties into our earlier discussion of, like, are the playoffs a crapshoot? Like, small sample size is obvious, and Shohei's playoff stats, he was like a below average playoff hitter until the Brewers game where he hit 3 home runs, and then his playoff WRC plus was like a 130. Like,
Yeah.
it can change in a night, literally. And so these shouldn't be looked into too much, but it's more of like a, if you're wondering why we lost, this is why.
Yeah.
And
Trent's defense also just been killing me. I don't understand how people think he's a good defender. Right
I
now.
was just going to say that. Like, this was his worst defensive year by far. His sprint speed was way down, and it was probably confounded by the Achilles injury. What injury did he have? That it took him out for like a game or two.
But
whatever that
like,
was.
He started the year.
It was somewhere in the
not
knee.
Great defender, and his sprint speed has been declining for a while. Like, I mean, I'm looking at his Savant page right now. Sprint speed, 2022, 88th percentile. 2024, 37th percentile. And this year, 32nd percentile. So he's just gotten way slower, which is really weird to me considering he's 29. He's really not supposed to be falling apart on his lower half yet. Like, it's not like he's 38 and he's just getting old. And his range is just horrible. I remember I was again mentioning that same Red Sox game where Paul Blackburn blew it in the ninth. Not that we're going to win that game anyway. But I remember a ball hit over his head. And I could just see him, like, stand there for a second. And I'm like, dude, it's going over your head. And he just stands there. And he's like, deer in headlights. I'm like, oh, God. And, of course, ball goes way over his head.
Yeah.
And I remember tweeting, I was like, that was the worst route I've ever seen in my life. And the catch probability, I think, was 90% for that ball, and he was never even close to it. So
that's crazy.
I don't know. We're getting a little
the big
off topic
sleep
here,
thing was fun when he was good, and when he was not, it was infuriating. Like, I actually remember
is good when they're good, but
I remember last year people were complaining a lot about him, like, not swinging, not doing, like, complaining about a lot of the things that people loved about him this year, like the Joe Cool kind of, I'm Trent. I don't wear batting gloves. I wear sunglasses, and I just kind of run in and catch the ball, and I don't chase and whatever. But
again, every bit is good when the player is good. It's the same with, we'll get to Jazz later, but like aura is only aura when you're not awful.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay. So actually this one hurts to talk about. I'm not going to lie. Ben Rice, who I firmly believe will be a Yankee captain at some point in his career. 18.9 strikeout rate in the regular season. Can you guess his playoff strikeout rate?
You mentioned it was like something in the 30s.
38.1.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like, and listen, a lot of that came from Trey Savage and Kevin Gossman and like splitter heavy guys. And I think with more time next year against left-handed bats, because a lot of those were taken by Goldie this year, I think he's going to be a lot better next year in the postseason, or even just better next year against lefties in general. But yeah, that was tough to watch, especially from someone who like Ben Rice when he came up. I know people know him now as like power hitter, just piss on baseballs like Ben Rice. But when he came up, it was Mr. Controls the zone, never chases, doesn't whiff. Ben Rice. I don't know if you remember that. That's how I remember it. But and even this year, like it's not like this year he had very 18.9 strikeout rate is really good. Like
it's great. That's excellent.
Yeah, that's something to write home about, But yeah, a 38.1%. And this is what, like I picked these hitters. I have Trent, Belly, Ben Rice, Stanton, and Jazz on this list because those were the hitters that were surrounding Judge, and they did nothing.
Yeah.
Like, people were complaining a lot about Judge hitting a lot of singles in the playoffs and not hitting home runs or whatever. It wouldn't you wouldn't have noticed it if there were people on base.
Yeah, yeah.
And you wouldn't have noticed it if like the people after him batted him in, or even walked to advance him to second or something. There was just nothing going on around Judge, who finally had his moment.
Yeah.
The home
We're
run.
gonna get too much into Stanton here, but it's more the same. He obviously gets a lot of leeway from me and you, just because he's been the guy that has showed up. So I'm not gonna ride him too hard. But
192, 267, 269 in the playoffs. Like, you want to know why we lost? There it is.
Yeah.
You needed him. And again, he hit 7 home runs. He was the reason we made the World Series. I mean, as much as it was, everybody remembers Soto's Game 10 or 10th inning, Game 4 home run.
Game 5, brother.
Oh yeah. I always get the DS and the CS confused. Yeah, Game 5. Anyways, but Stanton hit 7 home runs in the playoffs last year. That's absurd.
Yeah.
And so he gets a pass. But again, 52 WRC plus in the playoffs. That's why we lost.
We can move to the bottom of the lineup now. I guess
Yeah.
we have a lot to say about Austin Wells.
Yeah, I actually have a lot to say about Austin Wells in the regular season. So are we good on the... I feel like we've kind of covered everything from the playoffs like that.
Yeah, I mean, what else? There's not much else to say about the playoffs. It's just we can go back a little bit to the process stuff.
Yeah.
So pitching being bad in the playoffs, sure. Like they'd shown that they were inconsistent the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
Them being inconsistent at the end doesn't deeply surprise me.
Right.
Pitching being awful in the playoffs, that's kind of a different story. Sorry, batting being awful in the playoffs, that's a different story. I mean,
I feel like they abandoned their approach in the playoffs.
That's
And they were not adapting at all. Like, the Kevin Gausman start genuinely infuriated me. The amount of first pitch swings that they took throughout the entire start, like through all, he went 6 or 7 innings, something like that.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing, everyone got up and swung at the first pitch. Maybe after like the 3rd inning, look around the dugout and, hey guys, this isn't working. Let's sit until the fastball comes. Like, maybe we don't have to swing at one of the most disgusting splitters in the league. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then the next day, this is when like they were adjusting, but they were adjusting too late. Then the next day, they're taking and they're striking out looking at every splitter. And meanwhile, like the whole thing this year with the Yankees after the torpedo bats, it was they're stealing signs. They're relaying signs. They're flapping their arms around on the bases and doing all this crazy stuff. And yes, we want people to know that we're stealing signs and Cody Bellinger. Yes, that's what's happening. We're doing that. Like, if a single batter had gotten to second base, they would have lit up Savage. You could see his hand in his glove. Like, he was tipping his pitches. If they had gotten one guy, it's just, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that, the whole year, I'm sorry, I know they went to, I'm going to come out and say this, we were a better team than the Toronto Blue Jays until the very end. The Blue Jays went to the World Series? Yes. Were the Blue Jays a better team than us? No. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And next year, it's not happening again. Ernie Clement is not going to be a good hitter next year. I'm sorry. No. Dude, you look at, speaking of the Cam Schlittler start, the reason he had some Blue Jays fan responded to one of Cam Schlittler's tweets with a supercut of all the hits off Schlittler, and literally every single one off the end of the bat, low exit velocity, blooper, and that was the whole thing with the Blue Jays this year. It was, put the ball in play and see what happens. Put the ball in play and see what happens. And then they lose on a double play. So actually, it would have been better to strike out in that situation. So take that, put the ball in play crap and take it somewhere else, because I don't believe in it.
I think you're kind of oversimplifying it, just because they kind of beat us through home runs. Like the put the ball in play thing worked to get people on base, and then Vladdy would just bash like 10 home runs a game, and they'd all be like 2 or 3 run shots.
Yeah, but
I do agree with you that like on paper the Yankees were a better team this year than
yes,
the Blue Jays.
I'm. This is what the show's gonna be, guys. It's very data driven, but sometimes we're gonna get away from it, and it's gonna get a little emotional, and we're gonna say some things. You're right. I was oversimplifying that, and they slugged, and that was why they made it to the World Series. Like, and that was why they almost won the World Series.
Yeah.
Both teams hit 200 in the World Series, and the Dodgers just happened to hit better timed home runs. But not for nothing, that game, like, Bo Bichette, 3-run home run.
Yeah.
Like, that's how that went. And Vladdy, like you said, just absolutely crushed us. I mean, I have nightmares.
Could have been the Judge series if anyone else decided to play baseball. Yeah, not good. I've like calmed down a lot about this, just because like I kind of have no hope for the Yankees ever. So
I've calmed down about it.
I didn't believe as hard as you did during the regular season.
I believed.
No, I know.
I think I liked this team a lot more than most people did, and I really believed in this team a lot more than people did. I really, really believed in the offense, and it just completely. It wasn't even good in the Red Sox series.
No, it was bad.
All the Red Sox errors in Game 3, Connolly Early would have pasted us if the Red Sox knew how to play baseball.
Yeah, Jarren Duran sucks. Nate Eaton, trash.
Thank you, both of you.
Nathaniel Lau, I love you from your time on the Nationals. You're trash.
I heard Jarren
Duran. This is what's getting clipped for the
help.
TikTok.
I heard Jarren Duran might need some help from a tennis racket.
He does. You imagine his glove on that play seemed like it was as big as, like tennis racket.
Yeah, it was tennis racket-ish.
Puts it up.
He bounced it, just went,
and nothing.
Whatever. What I was gonna say, the fact that it's not ruined, and I'm not like a guy where you can't enjoy signature playoff moments if you lose the playoff. I just don't think like that. But the fact that they ruined that Judge home run is just terrible. It's so bad.
At least they actually won that game, because we had been on an extremely long streak of like legacy defining Judge moments being ruined by the game not even being won. Like the Crochet 9th inning homer trashed.
Toronto, when they put up, I think, like 7 runs on Will Warren, and then they put up 3 or 4 more on the bullpen. They came all the way back. Judge hit the home run to tie it.
Devin Williams blown save. Obviously the Clase homer, like, it didn't end up mattering because they won that series pretty easily, but
I always forget about that.
And now nobody thinks, like, obviously now it's a little different, but everyone's like, has Judge ever hit a clutch home run in the playoffs?
Also, like, for people who are gonna come in here and say that Clase was throwing that game, that pitch was like 99 on the outside corner and Judge hit it out.
Yeah,
I'm not taking that.
If you believe that, you're an idiot.
Yeah, genuinely.
There's also no, like, they clearly outlined that it.
No, but that was like the like when the Class A stuff broke, everybody was saying, no signature moments for 99. It's still a signature moment, but
let's go to the regular season.
Yeah.
It's really just we're going to talk about Anthony Volpe, and we're going to talk about Austin Wells.
Yeah. Also, actually, I want to do my Jazz segment real fast. Okay. So there's a narrative that I believed until I did research for this episode, that Jazz is a very streaky hitter, and that is what it feels like sometimes. It's not true. I went week to week to week to week throughout the entire season, and there were 6 weeks where he hit below 100 WRC plus. And 2 of those weeks was a 97, so I don't count that. And one of them was in April. The only month of actual consequence where he hit at a below average level was September 14th to the 20th. And he hit a 32 WRC plus that week, which is not good. But that's a small sample size. Overall, he was a very, very good hitter consistently throughout the year. His K rates never really fluctuated. His whiff rates never really fluctuated. Actually, what fluctuated more than anything was his WOBA to ex-WOBA difference. He was getting really unlucky when he was not a good hitter. He is just a high strikeout guy in general, and I feel like that kind of makes people think that he kind of goes on these like home run or bust streaks, and that's not true. And on that note, great player. They should extend him this offseason. We're going to do offseason talk next episode.
He was bad in the playoffs.
He was bad in the playoffs, but I don't actually. Okay, I think Jazz had the error that effectively ended the season. I think without that, people would walk away with a pretty neutral opinion of playoff Jazz.
He was bad. Like
he manufactured the run to win Game 3. When he went from first to home.
That was Game 2 of the Red Sox series.
2? Yeah. He manufactured that run. There's maybe Caballero could have done that, but there's no one else on the team that could have done that. He hit the go-ahead home run after the Judge home run off the foul pole. Like, he had good playoff moments, and he played good defense throughout the playoffs. That was just, and also that clip of him yawning, that was messed up on Fox's behalf. Yeah, I did not like that. That was really bad, and not on Jazz's behalf. I feel like it's normal to yawn, and that's fine. But
he was not the problem, but he was objectively bad. He hit 182. He had a sub 600 OPS. Yes. He was bad.
Yes, but
I still think they should extend him. I'm on your side there. But
Jazz is on my fantasy team. I'm
not. Maybe I'll steal him, bro. We have a redraft league.
Yeah.
I'm taking Ben Rice and Jazz Chisholm.
I swear to God, dude. To all of you that are listening, I'm taking Ben Rice in like the second round. maybe even the first. I have the second overall pick. I might just take Ben Rice.
Jazz Chisholm wasn't the problem, but he was a problem.
Yes,
I think he was just enigmatic of the larger failure of approach in terms of them just not doing what they had done all season, which is grind. And just
he actually struck out significantly less in the playoffs than he did in the regular season, which is
I think that's because he was being passive. Like it's the same. Anyway, let's go regular season. Talk your Austin Wells.
Okay. Austin Wells got worse this year as a whole. I think everyone would accept that as the truth. I could not contain my excitement when he hit the leadoff home run on opening day. I literally, throughout the offseason, was like, as soon as they announced he was leading off, I was like, what if he does it? What if he just hits a home run in the opening at bat on opening day? And then he did. And I went to school in Ohio, and I was at the Reds game, and I was waiting in line. My phone was on like 2%, and I used my last 2% of battery for that day to watch the Austin Wells at bat, and I lost it. And I was so excited, and the agenda was back in full force, and this was going to be the year he took the leap, and then he didn't.
Yeah,
and
we loved Austin Wells, to be clear.
We are big Austin Wells guys. Like every time he does anything even remotely successful, our group chat is just lit up. Agenda. We call it the Austin.
I'd say he's probably our third favorite player on the Yankees last year.
I'd agree with that.
Stanton, Soto, Judge, Austin Wells,
I'd say that's fair. Like
we love this man, but
we're big fans.
Unfortunately, disappointed.
And we still are. Not for nothing. He finished the year with a 94 WRC plus, and he was an above average defensive catcher.
Way above average.
Yeah, he was a fantastic defensive catcher. You don't really need a catcher that. Defense is more important when you're looking at catchers, but nonetheless, it was disappointing to see the step back that he took. And doing a deep dive into why, um, it seems to be a pitch recognition issue. It is a pitch recognition issue. So these are just some of the stats I pulled that I feel like kind of paint the full picture. In 2024, his chase rate was 25.5, and in 2025, his chase rate was 29.3. His average exit velocity actually got better, and so did his hard hit rate and barrel rates. His average exit velocity in 24 was 88.4 miles per hour, and in 2025 it was 90.6. So it wasn't an issue of him like hitting the ball less hard or anything like that. When he made contact, it was loud, but he was getting underneath pitches, because if you look at his line drive, ground ball, and fly ball rate in 2024, it was 20%, 36.7%, 43.3%. So 20% line drives, 36% or 37% ground balls, 43% fly balls. In 2025, it was 16.8, 31.8, 51.4. So his line drive and ground ball rates went down, and his fly ball rates went up. So when he was making contact, it was loud. And I'm sure everyone who's listening to this who watched Yankee games regularly can probably agree to this. They talked about it on the broadcast all the time. He was like Mr. Sack Fly this year. That was why that was why he was still an effective, somewhat, hitter. Because if there were people on base, he was probably going to hit the ball far enough to get them home, or advance them in some way. But as I said, his exit velo, his barrel rate, and his hard hit rate all went up. His walks are down, while his chase rates, whiff rates, and K rates are all up. His, as I said, decreased ground ball and line drive rates with increased fly ball rates show that when he's making contact, he's getting underneath the ball. He also has a lower squared up rate and a lower launch angle sweet spot rate, which, for those of you that don't know, is basically squared up is, how do I explain this? Are you making the best possible contact with the ball?
Launch angle sweet spot's more important for this conversation, just because that's basically like you're hitting it hard and you're hitting it at the right angle. Meaning, like, if you want to hit a home run, you have to hit it in the air, obviously. But you can't hit it too high in the air because then it's a pop-out.
Right.
So Austin Wells has one half of the component down where he's hitting it hard, because obviously if you want to go far, you got to hit it hard.
Right.
But he's hitting it hard straight up instead of over the fence.
And it goes into... I think that's a pitch recognition issue as well.
I mean, you could just see from watching the games, like, he just kind of looked lost a lot of the time. We saw this even in the World Series last year. Like, the Dodgers just kept spamming high fastballs. They're like, go get it! And he would go, whoo! Swing right by it every time.
He was also hurt last year, and I know you don't remember this, but he got hit in the hand and his stats immediately tanked. But whatever issues he was having due to that injury never fixed.
Yeah, I just, like, you look at there and he just doesn't look like he knows what's coming. Not in like a sign-stealing way, but in like a, I'm gonna swing, and I'm sure we'll figure it out someday. Like, you know, he's just guessing, which is kind of, we talked a lot about this with Trent in the playoffs. Like, when you're guessing, like, they talk a lot about being in between pitches when somebody's struggling. And I think that's probably the best possible way to describe what it felt like watching Austin Wells this year. And for people that's saying that we should trade Austin Wells, I think you're kind of crazy. He's still valuable, even at his worst, which he is right now. He's still a valuable major league player.
And again, it's not like he hit like a 60 like he was a 94 WRC plus hitter this year. That's still very good. He hit 20 home runs. I know there's been a lot of talk about, the Yankees build their roster for 162 and not for day-to-day, whatever. Like, you play 162 games. And a player that's good over 162 games gives you the chance to win on any given day.
Yeah. If God was fair, the Yankees would have a championship in the last 10 years.
I would agree with that.
We
all
deserve
started
one.
when we were born. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the problem.
Yeah.
We were born in 2003. 2004 came right after that.
It's true. That's how years work.
That is, and then 2005 came after that.
Talk Volpe. Unless you got more to say.
I want to go one more thing. Also, just looking at Baseball Savant's run value against certain pitches, in 2024 he had a 1 run value against sliders, which is good. In 2025 it was -4, which is bad.
Yeah.
And in 2024 he had a 2 run value against sweepers. That's good. In 2025 it was -4. That's not good. Split finger also went down. He from 2 to -3. Curveball actually got a lot better. It was -3 last year and it was 1 this year. So generally, it seems like it's an off-speed pitch issue.
Yeah. And also, I think it's a fastball issue too, though, because he, as I was talking about in the World Series, but he's shown issues with hitting high fastballs. And I think because he's trying to look for these high fastballs that he's struggled to hit, he's not able to pick up any low pitches like a slider or sweeper or any of those other ones. But at the end of the day, I think Austin Wells will be better, but
I agree.
He was emblematic of some issues we had this year.
Yeah. I think they just need to get him in the lab and tell him maybe just to like take a pitch every now and again, because his walk rate went like significantly down as well.
Yeah.
But moving on to everybody's favorite subject. Maybe we should put in at the start, like the 45 minute mark is Volpe talk.
Yeah.
So. Where do you even start? Volpe, a big subject post season, post collapse, has been his shoulder injury, which they at first maintained that it was not affecting his play, and now
he's out for the first month of next year.
Boone says it wasn't. Cashman says it was. It's all over the place. Anyways. I'm going to read his numbers, and I think it's hard to look at this and say that it wasn't affecting his play. So before the injury, which happened on May 3rd, so this is March 27th to May 3rd, 233, 326, 442 with a 115 WRC plus and a 48.8% hard hit rate. I want you to pay attention specifically to the hard hit rates. Injury to the All-Star break, when he got his first cortisone shot. So this was May 3rd to July 13th. 201, 262, 348, a 69 WRC plus, and a 39.3 hard hit rate. So that's a 9% decrease.
Yeah. Hitting the ball on the ground a lot during that time.
Exactly. In the first 15 games back from the All-Star break when he got his cortisone shot, he was nuclear. 264, 298, 679 slug. So he still wasn't getting on base a lot, but he was hitting a lot of home runs. He hit 7 home runs in 15 games, I believe. 163 WRC plus with a 58.5% hard hit rate. For the rest of the season, 182, 218, 297, 40 WRC plus, 33.7 hard hit rate. So hot starts generally are not new to Volpe, but I think the biggest indicator of his shoulder impacting his play was his defense. There's no reason for his defense to fall off a cliff the way that it did, except for the injury, which I think we talked earlier about physical and mental. Like, I think the physical issue became a mental issue. I think when you throw him out there every day, this is just the way things are for the Yankees. I hate it. I don't like it. But somebody has to be the punching bag. It was Glaber. Now it's Volpe. It was both of them for a while. And when it's a physical issue, and the one good thing that you could count on him to do, which was play good defense, he's now not doing. And the fans are ripping him to shreds. They're talking about him on everywhere you can find. They're talking about him. Fans are booing him. I'm sure he probably eventually the physical problems becomes a mental issue.
Yeah.
You could see it in the way he was fielding ground balls. Like, his approach just looked different. And part of that, maybe all of it, was probably like, I don't know how you can say it was a torn labrum. That's an important that's the part of your shoulder that is activated every time you play baseball, fielding, hitting. It's right next to your rotator cuff. My girlfriend's sister is in med school, and I texted her right after they said it's not impacting his play, and I was like, dude, am I crazy? Like, could it be where it's not impacting his play? And she was like, no, like, it absolutely, that's a critical part. It's your labrum. It's you use it every day. And
yeah, just try like moving your shoulder and just imagine if it was like excruciatingly painful to do it. And also you had to play professional baseball.
Yeah. Like,
I don't believe that the 15 games back from the All-Star break were very real, just because I think he was just kind of swinging, and maybe the cortisone helped, maybe it didn't, but
I think if you look at the hard hit rates, the cortisone shot definitely helped.
Maybe it helped. Maybe he just was hitting the ball hard for a little while because he got a break. But
yeah,
I think
that's the other thing.
Really
there's been a conversation around Volpe about, like, is he built to be an everyday player? I think he's played the last 3 years. He's been in the top 10 consistently in games played in the American League. I'm pretty sure he played 100.
Game.
He played 160 in.
I think he played 162 in 23.
Yeah, no, he played 100. He had the stomach bug in 24, and that was like the only reason he missed games. And then this year, and that was the other thing. There was like a
he played
month.
159, 160, 153. So he plays a lot.
Yeah, and is his body capable of that? And I guess now that you have Caballero, like, you can find that out. But there was a solid month where we had Caballero and we just weren't playing him, and they were just throwing Volpe out to the wolves every day. And I went to a ton of games in like August around that time. The boos were violent. Listen, I like Volpe a lot. I think at the end of the day, I still do want. I think everybody wants him to be a successful player, but I think more than that, I believe in him and his ability to be successful. The boos were, I was like, oh shit. Like, it's not, sorry, 53. I made it 53 minutes.
We were reaching like Aaron Hicks levels of getting booed. Like,
yeah, it was really, really bad. And not for nothing, Aaron Hicks is like retired after Anthony Volpe's 22 years old. Anthony Volpe, or he's 24, whatever.
Yeah,
he's around our age. He is, in effect, he's not a kid, but he's younger than veterans who are used to dealing with that. That's gonna have an impact.
Yeah.
And not a big fan of the booing, but in general, but
is this like just who Anthony Volpe is? Like, I guess this is kind of his last chance.
Yeah.
I think.
I totally agree. I think if he can hit above a 90 WRC plus and play good defense, I'm sold.
95 WRC plus and great defense is all I can accept, considering how hyped he was. But that's, again, not Anthony Volpe's fault that they decided to make him.
That's the other thing.
He didn't choose to be the next Derek Jeter.
People always talk about, like it's his fault that they chose not to sign Corey Seager instead of like waiting for him or whatever. Like, that's the stupidest point that people make, and it's just making things worse.
Yeah. I think that's kind of it. We can talk a little bit about Ryan McMahon, but I don't think there's a ton to say. Like, he's never really been good in his career, but he does have potential. He plays great defense. His floor just kind of gets raised by being so good at playing third base. We both like Ryan McMahon.
I think at the end of the day, if the lineup is as good as it was this year, you don't really need him to be good on offense. But I do believe that he has the potential to be. I think I did pull a couple stats. So he has a 28% topped rate, which means he was hitting the top of the ball 28% of the time, and he has a 53.1% whiff rate on sliders, which drop. Balls don't drop in Coors. Playing, like, the Coors effect is really understated. It's totally different playing in Coors than playing in a different ballpark. Speaking from experience. And I think an offseason, I like James Rowson. I think there's a lot of people that have mixed opinions on him. I really like him. I think an offseason in the lab with James Rowson, just learning how to see pitches that are dropping is going to help. And I do think he has the potential to be an average hitter next year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's, because that's the other thing. When he hits the ball, it's loud. He makes hard contact. And so if he can get better at seeing pitches and understanding when a slider is coming and it's not just like a fastball or, a coarse slider that just stays at the top of the zone. I remember actually there was a Luke Weaver. It was the third game of the Rockies series this year, and Luke Weaver's like off-speed pitches were just not moving at all. And you and I were like the only ones active in our group chat talking about that. And I was like, what was that fastball? That was terrible. It was like 84 miles per hour. You were like, dude, that was a changeup. It just didn't move. And I think that never happened again. And I think that now that I'm thinking about it, that was Coors. Like, we played the Rockies series in Coors this year. And I think I have a little bit more belief in Ryan McMahon than most, but it's not.
I think he will.
I don't think he's going to be judged.
A good player, not against lefties.
You're going to get a good player either way because of his defense.
I think he can become a good hitter, like an above-average hitter against righties.
Yeah.
Lefties, we'll see, but if he could just be good at one of them, then that's a huge, huge, huge win.
Yeah. Because
we have a bunch of guys with positional versatility. Kabi can play third, and McMahon can sit against lefties. So
the Caballero driveline videos intrigue me.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about this. I'm not as intrigued as you are.
I'm a little intrigued. Maybe
we can talk more about that on the
shoulder muscles.
Next episode.
Yeah,
so,
next episode is going to be very hopeful. So if you were looking for hope, come back next week, because you're not going to find it this week.
Sneak peek, I think we're going to talk about off-season plan. We're going to talk about what we're looking forward to rather than what we're depressed about.
Also, I'm sure the GM meetings are this weekend, right?
Yeah, and Cashman's not going? I don't know.
No, he's speaking virtually. There was some confusion. Randy Miller said he was not going, and then someone said his flight was delayed, and then Chris Kirshner said that he was not going, but he was speaking virtually.
I'll hold my tongue about my opinions on some of the individuals you've mentioned as to not burn any bridges, but Chris Kirshner, you're my GOAT. That's all I'll say.
I thought you meant players for a second. I was like, what? Yeah, no, Chris Kirshner, if you're listening to this, you're our favorite beat reporter by far.
Brian Hoke, you're cool too.
Yeah, Brian Hoke is.
But Chris the GOAT.
Yeah,
anyway.
Kirsch GOAT.
But thanks everybody for tuning in to
I do have one thing.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hit me.
Last thing. And this is not super data driven, so this is why I kind of saved it until the end. The attitude in rivalry and other important games needs to change. Like, don't be afraid to talk a little shit. I don't know. I remember it was after we lost the first Dodgers game on that Friday. Dave Roberts comes in, sits down, hey, it's always good to beat the Yankees. Like, people all the time say it's like it's not an event to beat the Yankees anymore, and it's not a thing to beat, and that is such a lie. It is such a thing to beat the Yankees. They played New York in our clubhouse after they beat us in the World. Like, not for nothing, Vladdy kills us because he hates us. Play with a little hatred. They played your song in your clubhouse. Vladdy got on Fox. Yankees lose. Like, that's not okay. And just to be like, oh, yep, just another game. Just another game. Like, no, it's not. And not for nothing, this was the most infuriating part of the season. They did not maintain the attitude of every game counts throughout the season. And then in the last 2 weeks, when we were back in the division race and it was close, oh, every game count. Every game counts. We just got to play every game, every day to day. Every game counts. Every game counts. And it's like, that is not what you were saying in June, when you threw Devin Williams at the Rangers series, where where he blew the game like 3 times. You win one of those games, and you're hosting the ALDS, and who knows how that goes. You don't have to start Luis Heel in game 1. You don't have, like, maybe Max Fried still gets blown up, but at least now you've only lost 1 game instead of 2. It's the Marlins game. The Marlins series, we got swept by the Miami Marlins. What was that about?
Not a good series.
Not a good series. And obviously, I mean, listen, it's kind of hard to get mad at that series because, like we were talking about, like the new bullpen pieces were getting adjusted. David Bednar has never really played well in Miami.
Weird stat.
Really weird stat. But it just goes to show, like, the postseason could have gone so much differently if you just won one more game. And you can and like, yeah, you sit here and talk about whatever. But anyway, I'm getting off the point. The Yankees finished with a 27-25 record against the AL East this year. 18 of those wins came against the sub-500 Orioles and Rays. I'm sorry, I don't care what their second half stats were, their first half stats. Neither of those were good teams. They just weren't. And you got 5 wins against the Blue Jays and 4 wins against the Red Sox is abhorrent. That's terrible, dude. They won 10 straight to start the year, or 8 straight or something to start the year. That's not good. That's the Boston Red Sox. I had a really bad time on Twitter. Why are you doing that to me?
And in person.
In person, yeah. I got one of my roommates is a Red Sox fan from college. I was at the Judge Crochet Homer game. I was in Fenway Park. I went ballistic when he hit that home run. And then I calmed down, and it was like in between innings, and I was like, we are totally losing this game. Like, there's no way we are winning this game. And Carlos Narvaez got up, and I sometimes it's just so obvious. Like, sometimes it's just so obvious what's going to happen. Anyways, I'm getting away from my point here.
And then who bitched him in the playoffs?
Show up with some goddamn fire. All right? I don't want to lose the season series to any of the AL East teams next year. The only AL East team that's going to be good next year is the Red Sox. The Blue Jays are not going to be good. I truly do not believe that these Blue Jays hitters are going to be good next year. I don't, like, Ernie Clement will be, clip this, pin it to the Instagram. Ernie Clement will not be a good hitter in 2026. He will not hit at an above 100 WRC plus when the season is done. That's my take.
He didn't do that this year, though.
He didn't?
No.
That's what I'm saying. This is not a good fucking team.
He sucks.
They all suck.
Mr. 90 WRC plus.
Also, George Springer is not hitting 160 WRC plus. He's so old.
It's over.
It's over. It's
fuck.
Truly over.
Sorry, we're getting into the swears as we get into the pod. I think that's a sign.
Yeah, all right, yeah. But yeah, show up with some fire. Dodgers, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Mets.
Yeah.
They gotta beat the Mets.
I don't care.
They gotta beat the Mets. I never cared. Soto left and I care. And I'm not ashamed.
we won like the greatest moral victory of all this year when they
Yeah.
missed the playoffs.
There were a lot of things that softened the blow of losing to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, if we lost to the Red Sox, this would have been one of probably the worst season of my life.
I-
But we didn't, so
If we lost to the Red Sox, I would be sitting here like shaking my computer right now.
I wouldn't even be here.
Yeah. We're like an accurate we're an accurate level of depressed to have like gone out and bought podcasting equipment. But if we lost to the Red Sox, it would have been a problem.
Yeah. We'll
All
leave
right.
it at that. Thank you.
Hopeful next week.
Thank you, everybody, for listening
Thank you, everybody.
to the first episode of River
River
Avenue
Ave
Radio.
Radio.
I'm your host, Kyle, and we have
Ryan.
our beautiful boy, Ryan.
My
Go
beautiful boy,
Yankees.
Kyle.
I doubt anything really that crazy will happen in terms of free agency.
If it
in the
does,
next,
we'll
like 2 weeks. But
we'll pop in front of the mics.
emergency pod.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But
thanks, everybody. We'll see you
Peace.
later.